and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. 4 months after a huge sinkhole engulfed a tanker in Wokingham, the road reopens, but beleaguered businesses say it'll take more than that to fill the hole in their finances.
It's down to the big companies to have sorted this out. It's their error. They should have sorted it, and it shouldn't have been closed for as long as it was.
As the cost of living crisis grows, hundreds attend a jobs fair in Reading, looking for new opportunities for employment.
Also tonight, can Paul Ince upset the odds against his old club? The Royals manager tells us how he plans to topple Man U this weekend.
And we catch up, or at least try to, with the world champion Husky racer as he heads to Italy to swap wheels for snow. Good evening. Businesses which have endured months of misery because of a sinkhole in Wokingham say their relieved repair work has finally been completed.
It's been almost 4 months since the hole opened up, engulfing a Thames water tanker carrying out repairs to a collapsed drain.
The disruption was crippling for nearby traders, with the diversion causing customer numbers to plummet. Well, Natalie Verney has been at the scene for us all day today, where businesses have told us they are hugely relieved.
There's not much to see here now. In fact, it's hard to believe that it was this very spot on the 1st of October that a huge Thames water tanker sank into a hole that was created by a collapsed sewer. Obviously, the road would need to be closed to fix that. First of all, they had to pull out the tanker. That was a job in itself. And then they needed to repair the road. That was all meant to be completed by mid-December. But here we are at the very end of January and the road has only just reopened.
It seems to have taken an awful long time to get repaired. It seems an extraordinary amount of time for, such a small road to be shut.
We walk up and down here mostly, but we do drive up here, so it's been quite difficult. We've had to go all the long way around, and I know that it's affected the school down the end of the road with parents trying to get their children to school.
I was expecting, that's going to be there for a few days, not a few months, and I just don't understand why it's taken so long.
Well, today is obviously a positive day for local residents, but for some local businesses, this really has affected them quite badly. Having this road closed for almost 4 months means that Kimmel Cafe down the road has seen a huge drop in customer numbers. In fact, they reckon they've lost about £8,000 in revenue. Today, with the road opened, they've been busier than they've been in months. But when I came here a few weeks ago, the owner told me that he was worried they might have to close. Thankfully, that hasn't happened. He told me that Thames Water has offered them £2,000 in compensation, but the local charities have had to bail them out for the rest.
We put a claim into Thames Water for £8,000. They've trying to settle on £2,000, so they're well under in what they're looking to give us. But luckily this week, Newbury Building Society have come to our rescue with a grant. Wokingham Lions have done the same, and there's another couple of charity partners that are bailing us out. It's wrong. We're a non-profit as well. We shouldn't be bailing each other out. It's down to the big companies to have sorted this out.
Well, Thames Water says it's connected local businesses with its claims team who can address any concerns regarding loss of income. Today, they thank residents and businesses for their patience.
Natalie Verney reporting there. Next tonight, police searching for a man who raped a woman at a property in Wantage have released an e-fit image of the suspect. The victim was outside an address in the wharf last Sunday when she saw the offender, who entered the property and attacked her. Police say the suspect is around 5 foot 2 inches tall, between 50 and 60 years old, and with dark hair and possibly facial hair.
A date has been set for an inquest into the death of a student at the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst. Olivia Perks, who was 21, took her own life at the Army Officer Training School in 2019. A previous military report had found Olivia was the victim of a complete breakdown in welfare support. The inquest will begin on the 24th of April and is set to last 15 days. Now, we know there's a cost of living crisis, and for many it can be a struggle each month. Meanwhile, the latest figures show unemployment on the rise, mainly down to more young people looking for work. In Oxfordshire, there were 7,500 people unemployed in the last 3 months. In Reading, 3,000 people were unemployed, and today that's where a jobs fair was held. There for us, Nikki Woodcock.
From nurses and teaching assistants to on-call firefighters, Reading's Town Hall was full of job opportunities today. As the doors opened, dozens of people flooded in.
So I've been out of a job since October last year. I just haven't really found one online, so I'm trying to do it in person. It's good to talk to someone instead of doing it online, because online it feels a bit distant, so I prefer face-to-face.
I had to give up my last job, so it's going to be a whole career change. So, you know, coming in just to have a look around and see what's available, really. It's a bit nerve-wracking, but it's quite nice to have all the information there on tables laid out for you.
We have seen an increase in people coming looking for work. I'd say since we've come back from Christmas, there has been an increase. So I think it's reflecting the unemployment at the moment. Yeah. It's a nice way to bring people together and hopefully get people employed.
Not everyone here is unemployed. Some are looking for a career change.
I'm ready for a new challenge, you know. I'm at the age now where I just want to find a new challenge and excel and just do something that will make me happy, you know.
Such a variety of jobs here and we just love it, I think. So much information to take in as well, so yeah.
I'm looking for another role, experiencing new things, try out a different job, new skills.
There's been a steady increase over the years in the number of people coming to events like this, many valuing the personal touch.
I think they're absolutely fantastic. You know, you always find diamonds. You know, there is a national problem in the employment market at the moment. I don't think it's just childcare, I think it's all industries. But yeah, I mean, it is slowly picking up.
Special educational needs isn't something that you would normally put into a search engine and look for jobs actively. So by coming to a jobs fair, people are being able to understand what those roles are.
People that have a language barrier, if they meet somebody face to face, then somebody on the phone, you can help them.
Following today's turnout, the job fair will return here in June, with another in Oxford in July. Nikki Woodcock, ITV News, Reading.
The Chancellor has confirmed the HS2 rail line will go all the way to the centre of London after reports that part of the scheme would be scrapped. The multi-million-pound project will run through parts of Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire. Today, Jeremy Hunt said the government was committed to HS2 going to London Euston. There was speculation the line could terminate in West London because of rising inflation and construction costs.
Indeed, I prioritised HS2 in the autumn statement. We have not got a good record in this country of delivering complex, expensive infrastructure quickly, but I'm incredibly proud that for the first time in this last decade under a Conservative government, we have shovels in the ground, we are building HS2 and we're going to make it happen.
A number of mental health and wellbeing centres to help people who are struggling are being set up in towns and communities across Oxfordshire. One of the hubs opened in Blackbird Leys and East Oxford before Christmas. Others are planned for Abingdon and Banbury in the Castle Quay shopping centre. The centres will provide care from mental health professionals and charities, as well as from people who've experienced their own mental health challenges.
For many years, people who use our services, their carers and clinicians across primary care and secondary care have told us of the significant gap in services for people with serious mental illness. So these one-stop mental health and wellbeing hubs on the high street or within local communities should make it really easy for people to access help where and when they need it.
You're watching ITV News Meridian. Thank you for watching us. Coming up.
A blast from the past. Can Reading's manager Paul Ince bring an FA Cup upset at his old club, Man United?
And yes, after seeing some sunny spells through today as we head towards the weekend, it looks like high pressure will stay with us. A lot of dry weather to be had. I'll have the full forecast details coming up in the next 15 minutes. See you then.
Look forward to that. And remember, you can find more news from right across the Thames Valley by heading to our website, itv.com/Meridian. You can call us. The numbers on your screen now. It's 0808 1010 095. And why not follow us? That's on Facebook, on Twitter and on Instagram.
The Home Secretary was in her constituency today speaking to Armed Forces veterans about their problems and needs. The meeting in Fareham was arranged with the charity Help for Heroes. The area has one of the highest percentages of ex-service personnel in the country. Some want to see the restoration of a mobility fund, helping veterans buy specialised wheelchairs and other equipment.
I'm certainly one of them who need the funds made available, and if we can pass the message on to senior politicians, that's great.
Yeah, very, very useful to meet a group of veterans and hear their experiences about getting access to support. I'm really proud that we have a veterans minister who is passionate about fighting and getting a better deal for veterans.
Well, Ms Braverman was asked about migrant children missing from hotels in Brighton, which has been in the news, of course, but she wouldn't answer any questions on that today.
A Holocaust memorial event has been held in Brighton for the first time since 2019 due to COVID. The city's MPs all spoke at the gathering at Hove Town Hall and a traditional poem was sung in Hebrew. The Brighton Girls Choir also performed with video testimony from Holocaust survivors.
I'm a refugee from Nazi Europe. My parents fled Germany to Italy. So many of my family, unfortunately, were killed in Auschwitz, and it should never, ever, ever happen again.
Genocides have been occurring since, again and again. Rwanda, Darfur, what's happening in Ukraine as well. And really it's for generations to learn how discrimination and division can escalate to situations of such horror.
A man from Oxford who stole more than £2 million in cryptocurrency has been jailed. Wibo Wersma, originally from the Netherlands, was arrested after a 5-year investigation. Some people lost their businesses and savings because of his actions. He was jailed for 4.5 years. Now, research shows that deaf people are more than twice as likely to be unemployed than those without a disability. Poor careers advice and negative stereotypes are holding deaf children back, according to leading charities.
The National Deaf Children's Society says being deaf isn't a learning disability, and with the right support, deaf people can work almost anywhere. Catherine Walker has our report.
Yaz from Poole in Dorset is one of 45,000 deaf children across the country. She works hard at school and has big dreams for her future.
I like to become an oceanographer because I enjoy science, especially physics and biology, and I also enjoy studying geography because I love learning about nature and also the ocean.
With the right support, deaf children can aspire to work almost anywhere. But the National Deaf Children's Society worry negative stereotypes are holding them back. A recent poll found that 2/3 of the public wrongly think deaf people can't join the police force, and around half think deaf people can't work as doctors, nurses or teachers.
As a deaf person myself, that is very frustrating. Deaf young people tell us, but they don't know what jobs it is that deaf people can do. They don't know what sort of adjustments can be made in the workplace for them. They don't know about their legal rights. And there is a responsibility on schools and colleges to secure sort of tailored careers guidance for deaf young people.
It's guidance deaf medical student Ashna knows can make all the difference. Work became much easier once she got this stethoscope that links to her hearing aids. But it's not always been so straightforward.
There needs to be change from like a systemic level. I feel like there needs to be more support into getting deaf people the education they need and the support that they need. I think one thing is it can be quite hard advocating for myself, which can be emotionally quite draining if it happens again and again.
With deaf people more than twice as likely to be unemployed, audiologist Alice says those with hearing loss, like her, need more role models.
I think it's really important because as a young person growing up, I didn't really have much awareness of other people with hearing loss and even what jobs I could do. A lot of people do have stereotypes towards hearing loss in the fact that it means that you won't be able to get a job or work with the members of the public, but I do manage to communicate with patients and parents every day.
In a statement, the government said that all children should receive high-quality careers guidance, taking into account extra support that may be needed. But until expectations of deaf children improve, charities say they won't stop fighting for equal opportunities. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues after us, of course, with the national and international news at 6:30. To look ahead to their programme this evening is Charlene White.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, an NHS trust is fined £800,000 after admitting failures that led to the death of a newborn baby. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt sets out his vision to lift the UK's economic growth, but how will it be achieved? And how a 12-year-old Ukrainian refugee has earned a place at one of the UK's most prestigious music academies. Join us for these stories and more from 6:30.
Charlene, thank you. Now, one of the UK's largest ongoing engineering projects has reached a milestone in Portsmouth. The first section of the South Sea Coastal Scheme will open to the public at the end of February.
Well, it's costing more than £100 million and is designed to shore up an almost 3-mile section of coastline and prevent homes and businesses from being overwhelmed by floodwaters. Derek Johnson reports.
140,000 tonnes of rock is being piled up around Southsea Castle, forming a barrier against the sea. This is just one section of the South Sea Coastal Scheme, the first part of which is about to open to the public. This is the largest local authority-led coastal defence project in the UK.
There's a reason for that. We've got to defend 10,000 homes, 700 local businesses, and make sure that, other than a 1 in 200 year storm event, Portsmouth's going to be protected. Lots of people in Southsea, lots of events, lots of activity. We've got to make sure all of that's future-proofed, and this is how we're going to do it.
Work began in 2020 and construction is almost complete on this first phase around Long Curtain Moat. There will be a much wider promenade here from now on. The scheme is, of course, about combating climate change. Researchers, including those at the University of Portsmouth, looking at ways to improve the loss of biodiversity in coastal regions, say some places should be allowed to flood to create habitat such as salt marshes. But going forward, the kind of major shoring up work we're seeing in Portsmouth marks a new reality for major seaside settlements.
In the future, it's likely that we will need to protect more of these places as the environmental conditions change, largely driven by a changing climate. And the changing climate is going to provide a higher sea level, increased storminess, and larger waves. So the risk factors are increasing at the same time as our investment in coastal areas is increasing as well.
The aim then is to try to keep storms at bay in a place where defences have been breached in the past. And there's a lot of work to be done.
The logistics are always huge. Rock comes all the way from Norway on a 7,000-tonne freighter that used to do a weekly turnaround. This phased approach isn't something we're doing because we think we need more time. It's to keep the city alive and active in a commercial sense as well. And it's not just for this generation, it's for future generations as well.
So people will be able to walk down this new section of seafront when it opens at the end of February. As for the entire project in all its complexity, it should be done by 2028. Derek Johnson, ITV News, Portsmouth.
Now let's talk about sports. It says here that Andrew Pate's been talking to the governor, but of course Andrew Pate is the governor. So how does that work?
All right, Gov.
Officially governor and governor too. Paul Ince was known as the governor, wasn't he? Don't mess with the governor, because that was Paul Ince's nickname during his days with Manchester United. And tomorrow, the governor is taking his Reading side to Man United for an FA Cup clash. And the fourth round tie has certainly brought back some special memories for him. It was in the early 1990s that Reading's manager Paul Ince became a Manchester United legend, helping the team win the FA Cup twice and guiding United to their first top flight title for 26 years as the Red Devils won the inaugural Premier League.
That one was probably a special one because it was probably the last. I think Brian Rodman retired that year. So Matt Busby was obviously hanging on to see us win it, and then sadly passed away after that. So it wasn't just about, you know, winning the title. It was about what was around it more that has made it more important.
Ince helped Sir Alex Ferguson win his first trophy as Man United manager in 1990, when they beat Crystal Palace in an FA Cup final replay. Having spent 6 years at United, he wants to make sure his Reading players don't freeze on the big stage. Paul Ince will be telling his players to show no nerves when they go out at Old Trafford, and he believes his experience at the Theatre of Dreams will be invaluable in telling the players what to expect.
I mean, training's been great this week. Everyone's running about. I've never seen them run about before. They're trying to make sure in the first 11, which is obviously not going to be easy to choose.
Like what the gaffer says, you know, it's extra buzz in training. Everyone's, you know, there's a few two-footed challenges flying about. Everyone's competitive and wants to be in that starting lineup.
The Royals ready to take on the Red Devils, and like their gaffer, showing plenty of fighting spirit. We have 3 clubs still dreaming of Wembley and a place in the FA Cup final. Tomorrow, Southampton host Blackpool. Reading's trip to United is in the evening and on ITV4 and ITVX, while Brighton play Liverpool Sunday lunchtime on ITV1 and ITVX. All our sides in League 1 and 2 play tomorrow at 3. Portsmouth looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 under new manager John Messinho. In cricket, Jofra Archer is back. The Sussex fast bowler played for England today for the first time in almost 2 years. Following operations on his elbow and back, he's finally made his return to the international scene for this one-day series in South Africa, and he took a wicket. Still plenty of work to do, but this is an important step ahead of this summer's Ashes and the Cricket World Cup in India, which starts in October. Now, just over a year ago, I met a Husky racer from Sussex. And it's fair to say the ride he took me on over the South Downs is something that will stay with me for some time. Since then, he's become a world champion, triumphing in international competition in Belgium. He's now off to Italy to compete, not on wheels, but in the snow. And before he left, Andy Dickinson tried to catch up with him.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Come on.
Matt Hodgson takes his pets for a spin in Friston Forest. His Husky's eager to please and race, having recently taken him to gold on dry land at the Husky Racing World Championships.
Absolutely amazing. I've put my heart and soul into this over the last 4 or 5 years when I've really upped the level, and yeah, phenomenal feeling. At times it can get really dispiriting, particularly this winter when it's been so wet and so muddy in the dark nights. But you keep going, you keep training. The dogs love it. They don't care about the weather. They love just being out and having fun and just persevere.
Scattering leaves as they go with soft mud underfoot. These guys can reach speeds of up to 22 miles per hour. But in 2 weeks' time, the challenge will be doing that on the snow and ice in more alpine conditions, hoping they can win again.
The temperatures are fine. In fact, the colder it is, the more they like it. I've been taking them to Sweden before and it dropped down to minus 25, minus 30, and they absolutely loved it. I find it really, really difficult. As soon as you get onto a sled, you're sliding, you've got to brake with your feet, there's no steering, you've got to rely on the dogs taking the turns in order to pull you around the bends. There's quite a lot of difference, and without being able to get much practice, as we don't get a lot of snow here, it is very difficult, but I'm very hopeful.
Last year at the World Snow Championships in Sweden, Matt was thwarted by a snapped line on the second run, losing 20 seconds, but yet still winning silver. This year he hopes to go that one place better.
The main thing is it's an amateur sport and everyone's there for the love of the dogs. There's no prize money. It's all about enjoying the sport and enjoying your dogs. So people taking it from all over the world. Everyone's so friendly. You know, my fellow competitors are also my friends because we share that common bond, and it is really special.
Already the highest ever finisher for a British competitor, Matt's bond with Lux, Ava, Pride, Nimis and Rogue is obvious for all to see, taking their love of sled racing to the max. Andy Dickinson, ITV News, Bristol Forest.
Yeah, good luck to Matt. And clearly our reporter Andy there has a new friend, Ava the Husky.
It was the tummy rub technique. Did you see? I mean, couldn't fail.
Who can blame Ava?
Thank you. Now, it's fair to say it's been a bit nippy lately, but the cold weather hasn't stopped one man and his supporters from swimming in the sea.
No, Tim Crossin, who's 58, is a former Royal Marine Commando from Poole in Dorset, so maybe he's more prepared than most of us for a challenge like this, all for a great cause as well. Just before Christmas, Tim was diagnosed with cancer for the 4th time in 6 years.
Well, the news spurred him to action, and now he's on a mission to complete 31 cold water swims around the UK before the end of the month. He's calling it the Cold Dip Commando Challenge, raising £10,000 for cancer and military charities.
You don't really get used to it. Cold's cold, and it's just fantastic. And what it does do, it focuses you on that time and that space, and you kind of forget all the other problems you might have. They're still there when you get out. You know, hasn't cured cancer, and the cancer's still there. But mentally, you're in a better state to fight things and to be positive and be good to people.
Well, just an incredible effort. Tim still has a few days of bracing swims left, but the end is at least in sight. Last spotted, we're told, near Deal in Kent. It's a bit of a swim back to his home in Poole. But what an incredible effort that they're doing.
It is. It's just, you know, and to kind of do it in this weather, this time of year, I mean, that's interesting, but I suppose it's cold water swimming.
Like you said, cold is cold. Doesn't matter whether you're a Marine or not.
I don't know whether Chris Page is going to tell us about sea temperatures.
Doubtful.
Well, he might do. Here's your weekend weather now with all the details. Here's Chris.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there. Very good evening to you. Today there has been some sunny spells across the region. In fact, that sunshine developed as we worked into this afternoon. And well, with the weekend just around the corner now, it does stay largely dry. There'll be more cloud as we go towards the second half of the weekend, particularly for Sunday, as you'll see in just a moment. But we still have some chilly nights to come with some clearer skies overnight too. Now, high pressure is sat in control of us at the moment, but we do have this very weak frontal system just sliding southwards as we go through Saturday and into Sunday. That will thicken up the cloud and could also bring some outbreaks of light rain for a time too, but you'll notice the breeze starting to strengthen as we head into the new working week, so signs of what's to come. For the rest of this evening and overnight though, we've got some clearing skies, and where we've got the clear skies, you'll notice the blues flooding their way across the chart. A widespread, quite harsh frost overnight tonight. Temperatures along the lights of Salisbury Plain could be as low as -4, maybe even -5, and thrown in there would also be some quite dense freezing fog by dawn too. So freezing fog to start tomorrow. It could be quite slow to clear, a chilly one as well, but eventually that lifts into low cloud, the freezing fog, and through the afternoon we see brighter skies, some sunshine beginning to develop, the best of that towards the east with highs around 6, maybe 7 degrees Celsius. As for Sunday, a touch more cloud in the forecast, and there could be some light rain at times, but at least next week temperatures will be above 0. Goodbye.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
And we are pleased to officially declare it's Friday night, so the weekend is just a short while away. In just a moment, it's the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
I didn't know what you were going to declare then. Stacey's back with a late update just before 11, but thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic weekend.
Happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.